Okay, we're going to do the daylily, and so these are the pieces you'll need basically. Plus you'll need a piece of floral wire, and you'll need some floral tape, some ink, and ink applicators, something to do your curling with. This will be used as a scoring tool. I use a dried out ballpoint pen, and we'll need a black marker to be able to color the seeds or whatever the things are here on the end of the stamens, the pollen pods, I guess. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the petals, since those are the main part of our flower. And I'm just going to ink these up to make it look a little bit more natural. I did not use textured paper, so in my case it doesn't matter which side. And I'm just going to use ink pretty liberally, actually, because I do want to get some color on this. In fact, I may go over it with a reddish color just to make it even a little bit brighter. Keep in mind that this is the place that you'll get your texturing to the color, and color also needs to be textured. I think I will grab some red and make that just a little bit more reddish. Okay, I'm back with some more red. I'm using the Memento Love Letter on this. For this one I'm not going to do so much. I'm just going to kind of go around the edges and a little bit at the tip. Just want to get it highlighted a little more. I like these ink pads. These are the Memento Dewdrops. And I actually first learned about them from Leo Kowa on Dreaming Tree. Excellent site, great tutorials. And what I found out is that you can also get re-inking for these dewdrops. So you don't have to buy new ones each time. Memento reinkers. So that's a good thing to know. Alright, so we've pretty much done our flowers. Just extra color here. Smooth that out. Well, I think I like that. It's good enough. Okay, so the next thing we need to do with the petals is to curl them. So we're going to curl them down and out. Be sure to get a good grip at the bottom so you don't rip them. These are not that delicate, so it's not as big of a problem. Just use a dowel, whatever you have that you can use to curve. I'm going to go over it a couple of times to get a little bit of extra curl on it. Almost like curling ribbon. Okay, so now we've got those curled down and out. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a cone with this, and we're going to, with this little piece over here, this little tab, we're just going to curl it up and glue by that tab. And just to show you before I glue it, the petals will be facing out. My fingers are slippery. Haven't got enough glue on them yet, I guess. So it's going to be glued like this essentially. And we're going to make a cone. So let's go ahead and glue that. Having some glue helps. I'm going to glue mine on the outside. So I will put the glue on the inside of the tab. Just going to hold it over there. Press it into place as best I can. that until it sets. Alright, so this is your goal, basically. This is your flower. That's the main part of it. So, the next thing to do, since I've got my inking mat out here, I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves and the sepal. Sepal doesn't need ink. You can put it on if you want. It doesn't show up that much. It's going to be the same process as with the flowers. So I'll give it a little bit. Never hurts to have a little extra interest. Again, just like the petals, the sepal was built pretty much on the same pattern as the petals. This one, unlike the petals, you can curve a little bit to help you make the cone later. And just curl these out just a little bit, not too much. And then we're going to do the same thing, make a cone and glue it. Try, if you can, not to crease it too much. Just hold it till it forms. And now we've got a cone. In the end, this is going to fit over here, something like this, to help form the base of the flower. That's done. Now we're going to do the leaves. For this, I'm going to use a piece of foam sheet here. I'm going to start by making a little bit of an embossing of the veins. I've got 3 leaves here I'll put on this plant. So I'm just going to create a vein down the middle, and a few side veins. I like using the foam sheet. It gives it a little bit of softness, but I tend not to poke too many holes. You should be able to see it on the back side. We'll ink that afterwards, but let's do all 3 of these first. This goes quickly. It doesn't take long to do. You can get as fancy as you want with the veins. It doesn't matter. You can skip them if you want to, but I really do think it adds a little bit of the natural to the look of the leaf. Because leaves generally have some kind of veining in them. Alright, so we've done the embossing that we need to do for that. Done with the foil sheet. Back to the ink. For that, I'm going to just ink the edges of the leaves, maybe a little bit at the top, a bit of shading. Sometimes I'll go over very lightly, just kind of go over and back and forth over the embossed area. It sometimes helps bring it out a little bit so you can see the embossing. I'm going to do that for each of the leaves. If you do go over the center part of the leaf, don't use fresh ink. It will tend to really show up too much. All I'm doing here is just kind of adding just a tiny bit of color over it. Okay, and now our last leaf. You certainly don't have to go over the center part. It will be fine if you don't. Inking the edges tends to soften the cut somewhat, so it doesn't look quite as, I don't know, machine made. those are 3 leaves are inked. We don't need our inking pad now. Done with that for the moment. Alright, so we've got our 3 leaves. Just want to give them a little curl, outward, downward. Outward and downward is the story for this flower. And if you want, just for a little fun, you can curl the end of it up. Or maybe you want to curl the end of it really far down. Alright, so our 3 leaves are done. Our sepal is done. And now we're to the stamen. This is the only, I guess, more complex part of the whole piece. That's when our marker comes in, and we're just going to color the little circles at the top. Takes a little while. Puts me back in grade school coloring. Although I guess a lot of adults like to color too, so this isn't as interesting as some of the coloring books I've seen online, but gets the job done. I do recommend working on a mat or a piece of scrap paper, unless you like little black dots on your table. I've got plenty of those myself. I hope you all are having some fun with the Serial Crafter files. I really never intended to make a site out of it, but after I made so many files, I just thought it was kind of a waste if I was the only one that was going to ever use them. So, decided to share them. What I do hope, though, my great joy is seeing when people build things, if they post pictures to them on our Facebook group. I love that. I love seeing what other people do, especially with, maybe different colors or different techniques. We have some very talented people out there, and I've learned an awful lot from everybody. Okay, so we've done both sides. That didn't take long. And now we have our stamen is finished and ready to go into the flower. Okay, we're going to be using our hot glue gun pretty soon, so if you haven't warmed yours up yet, now's a good time to do it. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is grab a stem. I use the craft paper wrap stems whenever I can, and I usually put a bit of glue at the end and kind of tighten it up so it doesn't come loose when I'm working with it. Do that at each end. You don't have to do this, but it's just something I've started doing and I find it works really well. Alright, the first thing that goes on is our stamens. We're just going to start on this tab end here, and that's going to wrap around the very tip of our floral wire, and then we're just going to keep on wrapping once we get it set on there. So initially I'm just going to do the tab part. Take it up to the tip, wrap it around, and just hold it for 10-15 seconds. You could sing the happy birthday song like we do when we wash our hands. Actually, I don't do that, but I do count. It's a lot of hand washing going on these days. Okay, and once that's set on there so it doesn't let loose, just put some more glue on this part. And like the center of just about every other flower, we'll wrap it up tight. Once it's on there, just hold it. Okay, now it's set. We'll open up that later, but if you want to play with it now, you can. It doesn't really matter. The next thing that goes on is our flower, our petals. This is where I said you would need the hot glue. You can use regular glue, but because I left room for even thicker wires, sometimes the regular glue may not stick as well as we want. So, right. Here is a drop, just a drop. Oops. Let me grab this here. Just a drop of hot glue on here. Bottom. And just slide your blossom over it and all the way to where it hits that hot glue. Just let it set for a second. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing and put on our sepal. A little bit of hot glue right here, just underneath our petals. And slide the sepal up to meet, petals. And if you have spider webs like I do, just pull them off. Right. So our flower is almost done. The only thing left is to spread out stamens in here. Okay. And now we're going to put on the floral tape and the leaves. So just grab a piece of tape, I don't know, longer than your stem. It's pulled a little too hard there. Find the sticky side, if there is one, and just start it around. I'm going to go up around the sepal just a little bit at the base, maybe a quarter, half inch. Just to make it a little more seamless. Okay. Just wrapping it on. Now it's about time to add a leaf. I don't like them running into the flowers all that much, so I usually like to go down far enough that they will not. Why, but I find leaves to be the trickiest part of a lot of flowers. Certainly this one. The rest of this one is very easy. Make sure you've got it facing the right way. Try to stagger it so that it's not exactly in line with the other one. Like that. We don't want it to be like this. So I'm gonna kind of fold that around there and hold it. That I will work on the, still ended up there. Okay, we're gonna move it back. Tighten it up. There we go. I think I may have twisted this. Twisted my wrap a little so the sticky side switched sides. Maybe not. Sometimes I think maybe if I just hot glued the leaf on it the place I wanted it, it might work out better. Tighter. And I'm going to put on the last leaf. And yeah, I feel like a klutz when it comes to leaves. I don't know why that is, but it always seems to happen that way. I don't know why they always want to go on the same side. It's like my floral wire has a flat side or something. I know it doesn't, but it seems like that. Alright, I think we finally got past the leaves, and it's just a matter of tightening this up now. Now my floral tape doesn't go all the way to the bottom, that's fine. I don't have very many floral arrangements where the bottom of my wire shows anyway. So we are finished actually. This is our daylily. So it goes together quickly, and except for the leaves, pretty easily, and even the leaves are not bad. So hope you'll enjoy making it. If you do, please put pictures up on the Serial Crafter Facebook group so we can see what you've done.